Hey everyone, Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys an old school album review. And today we're going to be looking into this album, the follow up to one of the most solid debut albums from one of the big four. And as you can see below the title, today we're going to be looking into Peace Sells But Who's Buying, the band's second album released in October of 1986, correct me if I'm wrong, through Combat Records. Now, of course, this album follows up their debut album, Killing Is My Business and Business is Good. But with Peace Sells But Who's Buying, I feel like Megadeth kind of stepped it up a little bit in terms of like the songwriting, production, and everything. I feel like the production on this album is a lot more better than on Killing Is My Business. It's more clear. Vocally, Dave Mustaine and sounds all right. I mean, he sounds good for the most part. There's a couple songs I feel like he could have done better on, but yeah. But the instrumentation wise, the instrumentation is pretty solid. Between Dave Mustaine soloing and Chris Poland, like, because of course Chris Poland is also a jazz guitar player. Both him and both Chris and Dave's guitar work is just pretty great. I just kind of like it has a little bit of like slower kind of like moments on here, kind of similar to Killing Is My Business. So yeah, I could definitely tell there's a little bit of songwriting between Killing and Peace Sells. Bass wise, David Ellefson, like his bass is definitely really audible in the mix. Like he pretty much stepped it up right here. And drumming wise, Gar Samuelson, rest in peace. Sadly, this is the last album with Gar and Chris. But this lineup on this album is really great. I think they stepped it up. You could definitely tell, like I mentioned before, like they stepped it up for everything they've done from on Killing Is My Business. They stepped up on Peace Sells. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive into this album track by track. Now, starting things off is Wake Up Dead, which opens up with a little bit of like a bass lick with the drums, but then it just goes into a very just techy key song. And I really love how like Dave Mustaine sort of like sings with sort of like a very growl, which kind of like adds sort of like the sleazy feel to the song. And the song does feel sleazy, that but for the most part, like there's very few lyrics on here. It's mostly instrumental. But the lyrically, I feel like it talks about adultery, like sneaking into your own house, and it's 4 a.m. and have too much to drink, which is just pretty fucking wild. And that just has a really incredible riff and some solo, and I love the harmonized vocals with they saying like "you die," which pretty much ends the song. Moving on to The Conjuring, which is starts off with a very simplistic riff, and Dave's vocals kind of sound a little bit annoying in the song, and there's like a little bit like a weird flanger effect which is layered into it. But I feel like the ending of the song just redeems it, and it's just a really great song. Moving on to Peace Sells, which starts off with a great bass intro from David Ellefson, and this is pretty much heard like on like MTV News, that little bass intro, and I pretty much, in my opinion, I feel like David Ellefson is one of my all-time favorite bassists. Like he could do no wrong right here, and it's just so catchy, and it's a very good song and some really great lyrics, and just like especially like near the end of the song with the double bass, that Gar Samuelson does when the whole band sort of sells Peace Sells But Who's Buying, which does repeat a little bit, which can get a little bit annoying, but overall it's a pretty good song. Anyway, moving on to the next song on the album, which is called Devil's Island. Now, it opens up with a kind of like a very crawling like riff, and it has some really great solos, and I feel like lyrically it talks about like a condemned prisoner, and I feel like the song couldn't make it clearer, and I just don't know really else to say about this song other than it's a pretty good one. Anyway, now we're on to side 2, and we're going to the next song is called Good Morning Black Friday, which opens up with a very just eerie, chilling intro with just some like clean guitar, and after the intro we're just subjected to like 4 minutes of just absolute madness on the riff department, which makes it so insane and sinister, and is pretty much, in my opinion, the most brutal track in like Megadeth's entire catalog, and amongst like the top most brutal songs in metal, period. Moving on to Bad Omen, which I pretty much love the intro to this song. It's pretty much very softly distorted with a little bit of pinch harmonics, and this song is pretty good, but for some reason it just doesn't click for me after the intro. It has a little bit of like wee in it, pretty much listen to the song, but the solos I feel like could have been better on here, but I just feel like the song is just kind of for me. I mean, I know some Megadeth fans will probably talk shit on me, but I don't care. Anyway, moving on to I Ain't Superstitious, which is, I believe, is a cover song, which I forget who the original artist, and I really much enjoy kind of like, there's a little bit of a change of pace in here, which right here, and as well as like the solo it contains. And the lyrics are kind of like really just funny but stupid, but it just feels like it's a different listening experience to me. And then the album closes with My Last Words, and this song is surprisingly upbeat, which kind of similar, it kind of starts off similar to like Good Morning with a very haunting intro, but then it just kicks off into like a full thrash fest, which has a really great solo in here, and just some insane like drumming, and I just love like the main riff in the song is pretty great, and it's a pretty good way to end this album. Now overall, Peace Sells But Who's Buying by Megadeth is another one great album in their discography, so if I have to give this album a score, I'm going to give this album probably a solid 8.5 out of 10. So yep, that's my review of my review of Peace Sells But Who's Buying. Guys, almost fucked it up there. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this album, and I'll see you all in the next video, and as always, keep it metal.